Archie. Archie, I believe we have an uninvited guest. Let the others, please.
He came for, he's gone now.
What could he have been after?
Only the rarest, most priceless orchid in the world. It's gone. My Pop Sanderianum is gone. I've been robbed!
What is all this about the place being burgled last night? When I pinned Goodwin down, he tells me it was just one orchid that was lifted.
My Pop Sanderianum was not just one orchid, Mr. Kramer. It was the orchid. The unique form of an already rare species, the only known specimen in the entire world, sir.
Yeah, well, makes it worth stealing then, huh?
It was irreplaceable and therefore priceless, sir.
Was. All I'm hearing here is past tense. You giving up on getting the dingus back?
Well, Mr. Wolfe thinks it was taken by somebody who had it in for him.
You will have to excuse me, Mr. Kramer. I really cannot discuss this further.
Yeah, sure, I understand. I guess. Is he gonna be all right? Looks all shook up. He looks like a volcano about to explode.
What can I tell you? I've never seen him like this either.
All over one lousy orchid? Can you believe it?
Saul Panzer's in the kitchen.
What?
The Magruder case?
Archie, you'll have to bear with me. At the moment, I am trying to control an anger I have never felt before.
Yes?
I want to see Nero Wolfe.
He's not seeing anyone today.
Tell him it's the guy who stole his flower.
I am waiting, sir.
Name's Bobbage. Woody Bobbage. Rhymes with garbage. Boy, you got no idea how many times I've heard that one.
Not undeservedly, one suspects. Now about my orchid, Mr. Bobbage.
Well, I guess I better tell you about that, huh? Well, I kind of figured I'd hang on to your flower until you do a little something for me.
That was not burglary you did last night. It was kidnapping, sir. You were holding my Pop Sanderianum for ransom.
Yeah. Morty, I said to myself, it's gonna take a hotshot detective like this Nero Wolfe to get you out of the trouble you're in. Only there's no way that I could come up with the kind of money that you get to take on a case.
Please spare me the rest. I am trying to control an urge to violence.
Well, that's the way it is, Mr. Wolfe. Soon as you get me out of trouble, you get your flour back.
Well, maybe there's a faster way to get it back. Like if I spend a few minutes alone with Mr. Garbage here.
That's garbage! Now, you listen. You lay one hand on me, Mr. Wolfe's flour gets chopped up for coleslaw. And that's a promise.
Desist, Ajay. I will quite frankly do anything to assure the safe return of my son Arianam, including work for you, sir. In what sort of trouble do you find yourself, Mr. Barbage?
Well, it started a couple of days back. I needed some loot in a hurry, and so I took on this job, which was, so was not to gilt the lily or nothing. I was the relay getaway driver for the guy that robbed the Dunaway estate.
Archie, have you heard of such a robbery?
Yeah. Yesterday's paper. The thief got $1 million in heirloom jewelry.
Impressive. And what precisely does a relay getaway driver do?
Okay, I'm parked in an alley 10 blocks down the avenue in a borrowed van. With the back open, no ramp down, and my motor's running. Al Sereno, he's the action guy, comes around the corner on his motorbike, up the ramp, pulls it closed, and I'm driving away with it.
And where did you drive this person?
Warehouse over in Queens. Dropped him off, ditched the van, took the subway back. Next thing I knew, cops found Sereno dead and the jewels gone. Now I got Sereno's people after me on an account of they think that I'm the one that tagged them and swiped the jewels. Probably got the police after me for murder. So all I want is you should find out who really iced Sereno and swiped the loot and get me out of this mess.
Mr. Barbage, you are aware, of course, that you have committed a felony.
All I did was drive. I got paid $200 to drive Sereno on his motorbike from Manhattan to Queens. That's all I did.
Nevertheless, you are a felon. And what I will do for you is this. I will attempt to find the real killer of this Sorrento person and recover the jewels. But I will not protect you from the law. Is that understood?
Okay. Deal. If that's the best I can do.
Very well. If you will wait here, I will prepare a list of instructions for the care of my orchid. And I expect you, sir, to follow them to the lesser.
Sure. Whatever you say.
Is Saul still here?
In the kitchen. He ought to be on his third helping of pancakes by now.
Mm-hmm. Tell him to follow Barbage when he leaves, eh? And you could best occupy your morning by visiting the Dunaway home, all right?
Yes, of course, I've heard of your employer, Mr. Goodwin, but I fail to see why Nero Wolfe is interested in me.
Well, it's like this, Mr. Dunaway. Mr. Wolfe has just received a case that might touch on the robbery you had a couple nights ago.
I'd pay a great deal for what was taken from my safe, if Wolfe can return my property.
Well, if he can, he will. No strings attached.
If he does, my insurance company will see that he gets a proper finder's fee.
You mind if I take a look over the scene of the robbery?
The library's down the corridor.
Thanks.
Oh, Goodwin. Look but don't touch. I'm a collector who doesn't like other people's fingerprints all over his possessions.
Hands in my pockets at all times.
Yes, this all seems about right.
Excuse me. Mr. Dunaway didn't say anyone would be in here. I'm Archie Goodwin.
How do you do, Mr. Goodwin? I'm Lois Dunaway. This is Carl Loring.
Mr. Goodwin? Nice to meet you. Mrs. Dunaway, I'm here about the robbery. Would you mind if I had a look at your safe?
Ah, of course. It's over here.
He didn't tap it? No explosives?
No, just opened it up and cleaned it out.
We're running into more of this all the time. New breed of safe crackers these days. Computers, electronic tumbler detectors.
You make safes, Mr. Loring?
No, I'm with the company that insured Mr. and Mrs. Dunaway's possessions. As I was saying, we're getting used to this kind of thing. Expensive safes opened almost at will. Elaborate security systems bypassed.
You know, that was going to be my next question. What about the alarms?
Oh, well, Andrew and I heard nothing that night. The alarms didn't go off. The thief shorted them out somehow before he came in.
How did he come in?
That he did the old-fashioned way. Sawed the bars off a basement window and kicked it in.
Still here, Goodwin. I see you've met my wife and our insurance agent. Mr. Goodwin is a private detective, darling. Haven't seen much of you lately, Loring.
No, sir. Sorry about your jewelry.
No, it's not my jewelry. My wife's. Bunch of stuff her family accumulated when they had lots of money and very little taste. Quite the opposite from their situation now. Right, my dear?
Must you, Andrew? In front of strangers.
Well, now, if you recall, Lois, your side of the family has the breeding. Now, all I brought to this marriage was a great deal of money. After your parents lost theirs.
I don't have to put up with your bullying, Andrew. Not anymore.
Yes, I understand the cliche now. You know, you really are beautiful when you're angry. I may have forgotten to have mentioned that before.
I'm sorry, Mr. Goodwin. My husband has his moments.
Yes? Yes, sir. Where are you?
I followed that garbage guy way uptown. He went inside a cold water walk-up a couple minutes ago. There's a Verna Barbage on a mail slot in the lobby. Maybe a sister.
Or a mother, or a wife, present or past.
Would you mind speaking up, sir? There's a blue and white makeup. Hey, just stopping in front of the building. Barbage just went into. And I got a ringside seat.
If my orchid plant is in that apartment, Saul, you have to get up there. Get up there, Saul, and say by Sanderiana. Do you hear me, Saul? Saul?
So anyway, I had a cup of tea with Mr. Wolfe. Such a distinguished person, isn't he? And he explained about you taking his flowers so he'd work for you. Morty, that wasn't right what you did.
I was desperate, Verna. A guy doesn't know from right when he's desperate. How about it? Can Wolf spring me out of here?
It's like the man said, Morty. He'll do what he can to clear you in the Sorrento killing. But you're going to have to take what they give you for your piece of the robbery.
Yeah. What makes me even think that he can clear me of the murder rap? I'm glad you divorced me, Verna. This time I'm going inside for life, it looks like.
Morty, don't say that.
Well, why should things change for me now? Once a loser, always a loser. That's me. Well, thanks for coming to see me anyway. Thanks for driving her down here, Mr. Goodwin.
Sure.
Mr. Goodwin, would you mind if I had a word with Morty in private?
I'll be right outside.
Morty, I want you to give Mr. Wolfe his flower back.
You gotta be kidding. That plan's my last chance, Verna. He gets his orchid back, Wolf's gonna drop me like a hot rock. Give it back?
Morty, please. For me, honey. Please. Come on. Would you come up for a minute? please? I have a surprise for you.
Sure. I love surprises.
I wish I could see Mr. Wolfe's face when you bring this back to him. I could tell he was really upset about Morty taking it.
You talked Morty into telling you where he hid it.
I didn't do much talking, Mr. Goodwin. He's really not a bad person.
I guess not. The lady as nice as you could be in love with him.
Goodbye, Archie. I hope I see you again sometime.
Satisfactory, Archie. Most satisfactory.
Whoever went through Verna's apartment really wanted those jewels in a bad way. I called Inspector Kramer. He's going to send some men over to keep an eye on the place in case they come back.
Albert Sorrento's mysterious people, no doubt. They should be your next task, Archie. Check out the late Mr. Sorrento's connections.
Now, wait a minute. You got your orchid back. We're going on with this case?
Only to clear Morty Barbage of the murder. Actually, I believe he is exactly what he claims to be. A guilty bystander who has been set up for the larger crimes in this case. And after all, he did, unbidden, return my orchid with no hope of my further involvement.
Yeah. So he did.
Yes. Magnificent, is she not, Theodore?
A thing of beauty, sir. And home?
Yes.
Hey, creep, get away from the bike.
Is this a Sorrento apartment? Albert Sorrento?
Who wants to know?
My name's Archie Goodwin. I'd like to talk to Mrs. Sorrento.
It's a bad time. We're having kind of a memorial service.
Solly, let him in. Hello, Goodwin. If I knew you were a friend of Al's, I would have sent an invitation.
Tracton. That's it, Bert Tracton.
Didn't think you'd remember. It's been a long time. Meet the family. Albert's widow, Estelle, his three brothers, Carmine, Leon. Solly you already met.
So you're related to Albert, too?
Yeah, he was my brother-in-law. Estelle's my baby sister. So what's Nero Wolfe's go for doing in the low-rent district?
Well, he has an interest in how Albert got his clock stopped. How and by whom. Also in what happened to the jewels he lifted from the Dunaway safe.
So why doesn't he ask his client, Morty Barbage? Happens I was outside the station when you took Morty's ex-wife in for a visit. No big deal.
I'm impressed, Bert. You know, I seem to remember that you had a talent before they pulled your PI license.
Yeah, I had talent, but no class. All the big money customers went to the fancy uptown private eyes like Wolfe. I had to take the leftovers.
So what are you taking these days, Bert? A piece of Albert's action, maybe?
Oh, you got the smarts, all right. I'm just wondering if you're smart enough to do yourself some good when the right chance comes along.
Like now, maybe?
There's a certain party I know that is willing to pay a lot of money for a tip on where Morty Barbage stashed the Dunaway loot.
Well, sure there is. But I couldn't help you out even if I wanted to, Bert. Sorry.
Arch, kiddo, I'm talking big bucks here. 100 foul for a phone call. Maybe more.
Even if I was interested, I'd have to pass. Now, Morty didn't stash the loot because he didn't take it. He also didn't kill Albert Sorrento.
No? Then why is Wolfe working for him? Morty didn't have 2 dimes to rub together before the Dunaway job.
Now and again, Wolfe takes on a case for reasons other than money.
Don't con me, kiddo. Wolfe went Morty's bail, didn't he? Got him out of the slam? Who else would go his bail?
What are you talking about, bail?
That's right. He's out.
Come on, Bert. Now, who were the brains behind the Dunaway robbery? You, maybe? The word's out on the street that Sorrento was nothing but muscle, period. No brains.
Go home, Goodwin.
It was you, wasn't it? You're making work for your brother-in-law. Well, Albert Sorrento was nothing but a cheap punk who didn't have brains enough to haul himself out of the sewer.
Did you hear what he said about our Albert? Called him a punk.
Fellas. Bert?
Don't look at me, kiddo. I couldn't stop him even if I wanted to.
Well,
Not terrific. I kept dreaming about apes in bowling shirts chasing me and catching me.
you must try something that Fritz has prepared for you. It's quite satisfactory, as a matter of fact. It's Hangtown fry, eggs and oysters. They're an excellent nerve tonic, you know.
It'll make you feel better.
Just coffee, Fritz.
You know, I've given some thought to your theory about Bert Tracton and the Dunaway robbery, Archie.
If Bert Tracton didn't plan that heist, I'll go back to the Sorrento brothers unarmed.
Tracton is a likely candidate, no doubt.
Well, what about Morty Barbage? Anybody hear from him since he got sprung? Who do you suppose won his bail?
I was just about to suggest that you phone Mrs. Barbage about that. Here, I have her number right here. Saul is on his way to her place right now. He should be arriving any moment.
Hello? Oh, Mr. Goodwin.
Yeah, Miss Barbage? Mrs. Barbage!
No!
Barbage! Easy, Mrs. Barbage.
Oh.
And I expect an immediate reply, sincerely, Nero Wolfe. Mrs. Barbage?
In the spare bedroom, like you said. Doc's finishing with her now, says she'll be okay.
Satisfactory. Apparently, you arrived not a moment too soon.
Yeah. He got in a couple good whacks before I got there.
A pity you did not get a good look at him, Saul.
Yeah. Just that one shot when he ducked into the kitchen and out the back way. All I could see was he was big.
Maybe Mrs. Barbage can tell us more about him.
Not till she wakes up, she won't. The doc just gave her a shot to calm her down.
Thank you for your efforts, Saul. I am most grateful, needless to say.
Mind if I hit Fritz for some breakfast? All I had was a bagel this morning.
Of course.
Maybe just a double order of pancakes.
Well, we can talk in the library. Though I don't know what we'll talk about. Now, this Barbage person you're looking for, why would he want to get in touch with me?
Well, actually, Mr. Dunaway, it was kind of a long shot. Now, if Barbage has been lying to Nero Wolfe, he might have tried to sell you back your stolen jewelry last night.
Oh, dear me. Don't tell me the great Nero Wolfe takes on a questionable client now and then. I must say I find that rather refreshing.
Well, hello again.
Back so soon, Laurie. I must say, I'm impressed with all this personal attention we're getting. Yes, I must tell your superiors just how impressed when this is all over.
Yes, sir. And it may be over soon. I was just telling Mrs. Dunaway.
Really?
We've had a nibble at our offer to pay a $200,000 finder's fee for the return of the jewels.
Well, Lois, looks like our troubles are nearly over. Oh, that must come as a great relief for you.
Yes. I'm delighted, of course.
I must say, you don't look delighted. Not even a little bit delighted.
I suppose I'm overwhelmed by all the good news. Excuse me, please.
Emotional woman, my wife. Has one of her many charms.
Well, I'd better be getting back. My intermediary will be calling to report.
One quick question, Mr. Loring.
If it's quick.
Yesterday, a man named Morty Barbage was bailed out of jail. Now, some pretty hefty bond money. Now, he was a suspect in the theft of Mrs. Dunaway's jewels. Now, it turns out that a young lawyer in the employ of your insurance company put up the cash.
Oh? Tell me, Laurie. Why would you want to bail out a man who was suspected of robbing us?
Mr. Goodwin's not with the police. I don't see why I should answer his questions.
Oh, that's all right. Just answer it to me. Try not to listen, Goodwin.
Yes, we bailed Barbage out in the hope that he would realize that those jewels were next to impossible defense and would get in touch with us for a finder's fee.
And did he?
Someone did. I've been dealing through a second party, a friend of Barbage's. It's all pretty tricky.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, just finding a friend of Morty's can be one heck of a trick in itself. Now, this friend of Morty's, the intermediary. Now, you are ready to hand him $200,000 in cash, no questions asked?
It's a lot better than paying the full $1 million indemnity if the jewels are never recovered. That's the way my company operates.
You know, I can't wait to tell Nero Wolfe about your company. Do you insure orchids by any chance?
I really do have to leave.
I think you really had him on the rack, Goodwin.
You know, I can't quite understand your change in mood, Mr. Dunaway. Did your dog die or something?
Do you believe this house, Morty? Honestly, the more I think about it, the more I think it is just about perfect. Can you imagine people living in a house like this? Must be wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful.
Oh, and that Mr. Wolfe, he deserves it. He's such a sweet man. He didn't have to bring me here. I mean, after everything that happened. I could have gone to the clinic.
He's okay. They're both okay, Wolfe and Goodwin.
This house, I just can't get over it. You know, I can't help thinking that if you'd managed to stay out of trouble, you know, held down a regular job and all, maybe we could have something a little like this.
You gotta be kidding. This place is worth a fortune.
Oh, I don't mean this big. But a place of our own, Morty. People live like that. Some people.
Guess I'm not like that, Werner. Seems like everything I try just goes straight down the tubes.
You just try the wrong things, that's all. And you keep trying to be something you're not. If you could let other people see how sweet you are underneath.
Werner, honey, sweet doesn't cut it in this world. Tough is what it takes.
Morty.
Listen, I'm not either one. Who am I trying to kid? Werner, I want you to tell me now. You recognized him, didn't you?
Morty.
The man that beat you.
Don't you think you're in enough trouble already? Please don't make me tell you, Morty, please. Please.
You listen to me, Tracton. We're alone now. No Sorrento brothers to run interference for you. I want some answers about this Dunaway thing. Straight answers.
What happens if I tell you to beat it? You gonna lean on me?
It's not my style, but I'm willing to make an exception.
Only you got a little problem. We're not alone.
How you doing, creep?
Solly couldn't make it. He had a meeting with his probation officer.
Yeah, he'll be sorry he missed you.
Look, fellas, don't make me do anything rash, huh? Too much violence in the world already?
Creep's got a gun, Leon.
Yeah, my last bullet wound's just finished healing.
Freeze!
Morty, it's good to see you.
Just stay out of my way, Goodwin. I'm here to see Bert. You with the knife. Drop it or eat it.
Come on, move.
Keep him away from me, Goodwin. He's gonna kill me.
Don't look at me, Bert. I couldn't stop him even if I wanted to. Isn't that how it went?
Shouldn't have done that to Werner. She never done nothing to you.
Just a little tap to get her attention. Hey, I hit my own little baby sister worse.
Not anymore, you won't.
Morty, maybe we ought to talk about this.
I told you, Goodwin!
You really want to waste this nothing? When he can probably clear you of this whole Dunaway mess?
Morty, listen. I can clear it up. I can help you. Listen to him, Morty. Listen to him. Listen to him, Morty!
I wish I could do one thing right in my whole lousy life.
You just did, Morty. You just did. Come on. We'll take Bert to see Mr. Wolfe. Now, fellas, we're gonna be leaving now, so kindly keep your hardware on the floor or this thing goes off. Let's go, Bert. You're off to see the wizard.
Pity Mr. Tracton could not have told us what he knew before he went to his rest. Do you think it was one of the Sorrento family on the motorcycle, Archie?
I couldn't tell. The helmet hid his face. It could have been one of them on Albert's bike.
But you doubt.
I doubt.
Yes, so do I. There are pieces missing, Archie. Large key pieces without which our puzzle remains a puzzle.
Well, I hear you. But I'm running out of rocks to look under.
Perhaps that's a problem. We've been distracted by the low-life elements of the case. Bert Tracton, the Sorrentos, and Morty Barbage, of course. I'm wondering if we should not look upward raise our sights, so to speak.
How high is up?
I'll leave that to you. Far be it from me to clip your investigative wings.
I think I just got turned loose on a better class of suspect. Carte blanche?
Within reason, Archie. Always within reason.
Bingo.
Mr. and Mrs. Dunaway, sir.
Show them in, Fritz.
You'd be Nero Wolfe.
In the flesh, sir.
All of it. As advertised.
Please sit down.
Mr. Loring, sir.
Ah, the final member of our group. And what have you there, Mr. Loring?
I've got them, the stolen jewels. When I heard the Dunaways were going to be here, I decided I should bring them along.
Well, Mr. Loring, your intermediary delivered, I see. Tell me, how were the jewels actually returned?
The man I've been dealing with camped out on a dirt road in New Jersey all night. Well, finally, about 4 o'clock this morning, some man comes along on a motorcycle, face covered, and he exchanged the jewels for $200,000.
The character put a lot of miles on that motorcycle. I saw him behind my townhouse around 2 a.m. last night.
Go on, Mr. Dunaway.
Well, I suppose he hoped he could get a better price for the jewels from me. I told him to deal with the insurance people.
Interesting. Let us file that for future reference. Now, why don't we start from the beginning? First, the theft itself. The Dunaway jewels were quite identifiable, difficult to fence. So why take them? I submit their theft was incidental. There was something else in that safe, which was the real object of the burglary.
I've heard of jumping to conclusions, Wolf. You just pole vaulted.
Consider this. Archie Goodwin reported to me that on his first visit to the Dunaway home, he saw Andrew Dunaway bully his wife, and she defied him openly, causing him to back down. On the second visit, 1 day later, Mr. Dunaway was in a happier mood, and he bullied his wife again. This time, she does not defy him. She does not stand up to him. She merely flees his presence in utter defeat. I submit, Mrs. Dunaway, the mysterious item in the safe gave your husband power over you. When it was out of his possession, you could defy him. When he regained it, which he did last night, you could not.
Power over her. Sounds like voodoo.
No, sir. It sounds like blackmail. Which brings us to another member of our group, the late Mr. Bert Tracton. Archie?
Bert Tracton did a lot of divorce work, keyhole photos. He lost his license when he got greedy and tried to branch out to blackmail.
Precisely. Now our known facts begin to suggest a scenario. To wit, Lois Dunaway had a lover. Her husband discovers the infidelity and finds his way to Bert Tracton, renowned for his photographs of illicit lovers.
This is the most incredible bilge I've ever heard.
Before you protest too much, Mrs. Dunaway, let me inform you that Archie Goodwin followed you today when she went to your apartment, Mr. Loring.
No, really. The wife of one of my best clients.
And before you protest overly much, Let me say, sir, that after Mr. Goodwin learned what he did, we had our associate Saul Panzer check you out. Quite a different Carl Loring emerges. Not the office-bound insurance executive, but a man of dash and daring who skis, scuba dives, even skydives. That Carl Loring would dare to love a wealthy client's wife. That Carl Loring would even dare to commit murder.
Sit down, Loring. Wolf has definitely got my attention now.
To return to our scenario, Lois Dunaway wishes to divorce her husband and marry Mr. Loring. But when her husband shows her Bert Tracton's photos, she realizes divorce is out of the question. Not only would her reputation be blackened, but she would emerge with very little of Mr. Dunaway's wealth. So, Mrs. Dunaway, you schemed to get the photos away from your husband. You reasoned that since Bert Tracton got you into your trouble, he might get you out. You hired him, gave him a layout of the house and its security system. With this sort of head start, even Albert Sorrento could crack the safe's combination.
I can buy most of this, Wolf, but how does it get us to Loring here as the murderer?
Inescapably, sir. First, is it such a leap of reason to believe that a man who skydives and scuba dives also knows which end of a motorcycle one points down the road? But more importantly, I suspect Mr. Loring had come to realize that when he married Mrs. Dunaway, he would be wedding an unfaithful wife. Not altogether a consummation he devoutly wished, one suspects. So when Lois Dunaway planned to recover the photos, Mr. Loring saw a chance to emerge not only free of her, but also with a great deal of money.
This is completely insane.
Oh, most sane, I fear, Mrs. Dunaway. Mr. Loring and Bert Tracton planned to meet Sorrento after the robbery. But Loring finds the means to delay Tracton, to meet Sorrento alone, kill him, and take the jewels and the photographs. The jewels he ransoms for his company, pocketing the $200,000. The photographs he takes anonymously to Mr. Dunaway and sells for, how much, sir?
$300,000. You made yourself a fast $500,000. Tax-free.
There remained the matter of Bert Tracton, the only one who might eventually figure out what had happened. When an enraged Morty Barbage failed to eliminate Tracton for you, Mr. Loring, you followed Mr. Goodwin and Tracton here on a motorcycle and gunned Tracton down on my very doorstep. A matter I took quite personally, I assure you.
It's true, isn't it? Everything he said. He just wanted money. But you loved me.
Let's face it, Lois. What the man said is right. I mean, bottom line, you're just another cheating wife. And I had my life to get on with.
Well, let's get on with it, Mr. Loring.
Good night, Mr. Dunaway. Which proves once again, Archie, that love can be truly blind.
Why
don't we wait here until I can get his attention?
Well, we won't keep him. We just want to say goodbye.
Yeah, and I want to thank him for putting in a good word with Inspector Kramer. He said maybe I'll get a break if I tell everything I know about the robbery.
What's the matter? Trouble with your your whatever you call it?
I'm afraid there is no doubt about it, Archie. The pub Sanderianum is wilting a month earlier than it should.
Oh, hey, was it something I done?
I do not know, Mr. Burbage. If it were possible...
Mr. Wolfe! Come here, come here.
Yes, what is
Look,
it?
look at this.
What? Well, what is it?
The tip of the column is beginning to swell. Look for
What?
yourself. Look, look.
Why, that's impossible.
Oh, no, it's possible. If a bee got to it when it was on that tenement roof.
If a bee got to it?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Burbage! Oh, Mr. Burbage!
Let me see again. Let me see again. Yes, it's true. Mr. Burbage, you may, sir, have done the orchid world a great service. The Pop Sanderianum has self-pollinated, sir. I could never have done it myself, caused the premature wilting of that magnificent flower. I would have left it virgin and untouched until it turned brown and dropped off its stem. But now, let me see.
I'm not sure, but I think you got his flower pregnant. He's about to become a father.
Yes. Well, congratulations, Theodore. Congratulations. Oh, Theodore. Don't cry, Theodore. Everything is most